Back up here, though, we're going to stick with the master plan, which is, as ever, to bug this area with cameras. Thanks to the National Trust and the Eastern Moors Partnership, we've got those cameras out here on the estate and in the surrounding area. We can go to our 9-way now to see what we've got. Whole host of different things going on there. You can see lots of young birds fidgeting around in the nest, but I'm going to go centre. Let's go to the centre, because although it's a damp night and this is not a particularly happy bird and it's facing in the wrong direction, thank you very much, it is indeed the short-eared owl, and I am really excited about this because we've never had one before, and they are extraordinary birds, beautiful and fascinating. Thankfully, we were watching them before the rain started to pour down. Now, short-eared owls are in the UK birds of moorland, and they frequently hunt in the daytime, both winter and during the breeding season. Here is our female. She's married with children, as it were, and you can see that they're underneath her there. The male drops in with a short-tailed field vole. Very important prey item for these birds. It's one of the things that governs their population levels and how many eggs they lay. She had 7 eggs. She's now got 6 chicks and 1 unhatched egg. And the first thing you'll notice is, like all of the owls that we typically look at, they hatch asynchronously. So you get 1 or 2 which are much bigger than all of the others. Now, I've got to say, looking at those young owlets there, I can make a case to say that they're potentially not the most attractive young birds in the world. There we are, case proved, without a shred of a doubt. And things get worse, actually, when they're younger. Look at that. Oh, goodness me. But when they mature, gosh, they turn into something very, very beautiful. Now, like many ground nesting birds that are vulnerable to predators, they have a habit of leaving the nest early, semi-fledging you call it, don't you? And that's what we've seen with these birds. You can see there's one behind her there. One of the larger young birds has already scuttled off into the undergrowth. And of course, that would be beneficial. Should a fox come along and raid this nest, it may not find all of them if they've scattered into that undergrowth. What a bird. Look at the eyes, those chrome yellow eyes. Absolutely sensational. Now, because of the fact that they're so fidgety and moving about, we may not be able to watch them for too long. But our cameras will be live from tomorrow morning, and you'll be able to watch those from 10 till 10. I wouldn't take your eyes off the short-eared owl if I was you.
That's a stonking start, isn't it?
Start.
For our 20th anniversary. I mean, you know, we always wonder what we're going to get, and we've got something we've never had before. It's so absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, so we've got a selection of 9 there. My eye is drawn again, as it was last night, to the one in the centre, which is our short-eared owl. Look at that. Oh, that's fantastic. She's doing everything she can to try and cover. There were 4 of the 6 youngsters still left in the nest area at the moment. And look at that. She's got her wings out, trying to wrap them up and keep them out of that cold drizzle. And you can see one of them in the background there just preening. They're not quite small enough to fit under her. But what a mother. What a mother. Absolutely fantastic. And of course, although she's looking pretty damp now, we've been watching her throughout the course of the day. This is the habitat. She's up on the top of the moorland there, standing up to reveal 2 of those youngsters, peeping around for the male. But listen to this. Listen. Yeah, never heard that before. The sound of a young short-eared owl, and it's weird. You can see. Yeah. What's it about, I wonder, that particular sound? That sound, we know what that's about. That's her calling to the male that's just about to drop some food into the nest area. And, yep, there comes the male with another field vole. Now, the smallest young are still at the stage that they need it to be torn up so they can swallow it. And you can see her dismembering that vole here. But then, of course, you know, they always get a bit over-ambitious, don't they? Look at this one. I mean, this is truly grotesque. You've got one of the ugliest birds in the world with the back end of a vole sticking out of its mouth. And you're probably having an early supper or a late tea. I apologise for that. But, I mean, yeah, that's what it's about, isn't it? Look at that. But it gets it down. It gets it down. And if you look into the background there, you can see some of these youngsters have moved some distance away. Well, I say some distance. They will go 50 metres, they'll go 200 metres away from the nest when they're mobile like this. And of course that's, you know, a predator avoidance strategy. But I had no idea they went that far. They make little runs through the vegetation so they can scuttle back when the food appears. And look at that, just a close-up to leave you with. That was the foot of one of the young owls, and it's already got little feathers on it. And we know that owls have feathered feet to keep them silent when they're flying and hunting their prey. And they're feathered already at that stage. Aren't they amazing?
No, I love that nest. I love that shot when all 4 of them were in a row and you could really see the difference in size.
That noise.
No, absolutely amazing. Let's see what we've got. Shall we finish off with the old short-eared owl? Because every time we've gone to the short-eared owl, it just looks fabulous. So there we go. Well, I guess, though, because it's cold and it's been wet, you can't really see the chicks. It's got those wings out. I mean, it's incredible to think that all those chicks are snuggled under there, because some of them are quite big, aren't they, Chris?
Yeah, look at that. That's showing all of the duty it requires to be a good mother. And there's one little peeping out underneath there now.
And now we are going to go to very quickly, because it probably is the best nest we've got so far this series, if I can say that. Let's go to a Springwatch first. The short-eared owl nest. I mean, these look ridiculous. They look like something out of Fraggle Rock, don't they? They don't even look real.
Yeah, they look like some demented Furbies or something, these chicks. But this was one of the dream nests. So when we were setting up Longshaw as a place to come, we've been talking about coming here for quite a long time in the planning, and we had a list of species that we wanted to do. We really wanted to represent the moorland habitat, and the star species that we were aiming for, we'd got our hit list, and the short-eared owl was one that was on there. One that we were really hoping we could do. We heard about a nest, it got predated, we thought our chance was over, and then our nest finders found this in the heather, and I am so chuffed that we've got it. It is fantastic.
Me too. It's unbelievable that we've got that.
It's really cool.
Really
Yeah.
special.
Now, Ruth Peacey is here with me. Ruth, the shaker maker of the week, really, when it's come to all of our nest, has been the short-eared owl. Can we go to that live now?
Absolutely. And if you can see there, you can just about see one of the chicks tucked under their adult mum. And the mum's been very diligently staying with those chicks for most of the day.
Yeah.
There are still 2 tucked under there. We've just seen them, so...
It's not a great view. Let's catch up, because we didn't show the short-eared owl yesterday. We kind of skipped it, but there was quite a lot of activity yesterday.
Yeah, there was, and as I said, this mum's been staying very attentively at the nest. She's on alert for something there, and you can see why she's called a short-eared owl, with those ear tufts pointing up there, and she's looking...
Something's gone overhead, hasn't it?
Yeah, yes. And she's actually still at this point, yeah, she's definitely looking for something. The weather wasn't so great all day yesterday. We did have a moment of rain, and you can see there were still 3 chicks in the nest, and you can definitely make out the big size difference between them, with the littlest one in the middle. That big one was ready to go, and we were very privileged to see it leave the nest. So it's headed off into the heather.
And this was what we'd said earlier in the week. You know, these young birds are moving off some distance away from the nest. We haven't been out to explore, obviously, but we know from previous studies they can go up to 200 metres. But nevertheless, the adults have still got to come in and bring that food and find them. And again, today, we've had the male bringing in food, Ruth.
Yeah. So this is amazing for us to be able to see the footage that the long lensers are getting, because we don't see the male out hunting, so it's lovely to be able to see this. But what we do see is when the male drops into the heather, and we see the outcome of that when he passes the food to the female and she feeds the chicks. And here are the 2 chicks that are left in the nest taking some rodents, and the bigger of the 2 tries to take this vole and tries to take it feet first, but it doesn't quite work out for that chick. But the smaller one has a better approach and takes that vole head first down, and although it's still quite a struggle, it does manage it eventually.
Goodness me,
No.
Honestly. Look at the relief. Look at the relief
Yeah,
once it's gone down. We've all felt like that, Ruth. I know you have. I've seen you having a curry on occasions, you know.
Yes, well, quite. And the female's back, and she's got another vole from the male there. And these chicks are so full at this point, and so they really won't take it, even though she tries.
What about that?
Yeah, So she actually wanders off then with that, presumably to that chick that wandered off yesterday. So
Yeah, they've still got to find them out there somewhere, haven't they? Underneath all of that heather that they're hiding in. I guess they've got a little contact call. They must be calling the adults in.
yeah.
And these are the last two youngsters that we've got in the nest then.
Yeah, and you can still see that big size difference between them. We've still got one that's much smaller than the other one.
Yeah. OK, thanks, Ruth. To be frank, honestly with you, I doubt they're going to be there on Monday, so do keep your eyes peeled, watching our cameras on the iPlayer. Remember, they're on from 10 until 10 during the weekdays, and at the weekend it's 10 till 6 in the evening. But I think we've probably seen the last of those before we get back next week.
Very nice. Well, I mean, we can do this on Springwatch 2025. Shall we go from the long-eared to the short-eared owl?
Yes.
Let's have a look at that, because this, as we've been banging on about all week, is a Springwatch first. We've never featured a short-eared owl nest like this before. Fantastic, just on the ground, in the heather. Like many species of raptor that nest out on the open moors, they'll just find a tall patch of heather. That's where you'll find your merlins and your hen harriers just sat down there. So, how many have we got left in the short-eared owls?
2.
Just 2?
Just 2. 2 out of 6. We had 6.
But that doesn't mean that they've died or been eaten, does it?
Absolutely not. No, they're doing the equivalent of branching that you see in other owl species, and they're sort of dispersing amongst the heather. Of course, we've got a very tight view on that nest area, but if we were to pull out and if the heather wasn't quite so thick, we'd be able to see them still around, and I'm pretty certain that the dad's continuing to drop them food.
Yes, yeah. So they. Oh, I thought an owl might be about to jump in, but it's just very windy heather. I thought it was about to jump in there. Now you can see this chick here. You can see it shaking its head from side to side. That's them measuring the distance. That's them doing a bit of sort of distance analysis. When you see birds of prey move their head from side to side, they're judging the distance of how far things away. You can see peregrines do it and things like that. And they're making these amazing calls as well as they're sat in the nest. But what a privileged view. We talk about the privileged views that Springwatch gives you, and this is a really special one.
It really is. I mean, as you said earlier, you could spend a lifetime out looking for things, and I think even if you came across this nest, you would never see this.
No, and we've got, the team and the technology to be able to do this in a way that has no impact on the bird. This is a few kilometres away from where we are, this nest, up on the moors, and we've been able to do it in a way that we're able to beam this signal back to our truck and watch this incredible life.
Anyway, we've got fidgeting short-eared owls. Let's take a look at what happened over the weekend. This is where they're nesting in open moorland. They're down in the heather. It's a ground nesting bird. May the 25th, we saw 5 chicks and 1 unhatched egg. They were all doing very well and all being fed. Now, they hatch at intervals, so the oldest is more than a week older than the youngest, so very noticeable size difference. And if times were tough, often the smallest would suffer. It would either be ignored or bullied and eventually perish. But as you can see, not in this case. The smallest chick is doing pretty well. Largest of the 5 branched out, started exploring the outside world, and then 2 others came and went. And at the end of last week, it was just 2 left. On the 1st of June yesterday, those 2 were still being brooded. Look how cute that one looks. The adults still diligently tidying the nest, making it far too comfortable for the 2 youngsters to want to leave. A familiar story for many parents, I'm sure. And you can see they're very happy sitting in their cosy nest. Not only do they have a cosy nest, but they are continuing to be fed. We've seen lots of food being brought into them. But look at this one. This is the adult flying in with a vole. He's pinpointed where the nest is, and he's going down into the heather to land in that nest. There he goes. And those 2 chicks are begging for that food. But it's a tantalising tease by the adult because it then walks away with the vole still in its beak. What's it trying to do? Perhaps lure them off. Because we have seen today that they've gone, but they've come back, they've gone, they've come back, they've gone, they've come back. They're basically boomerang kids. They're staying stubbornly in that nest for now. But as I say, you can't blame them. It's a cosy nest. They're being brought food. Who wouldn't want to stay? Let's have a look now at our live cameras to see if they're still there. Oh, interesting. Can we go and have a look at the close-up? Is that just 1 left? Oh, look, there we go. So we've just got one chick left, or is the one behind it?
I think the small one's
It's
behind it.
teasing us, but yeah, we have just been told actually that there are two still there. So when are they going to go? Oh, look, oh, look at that. I mean, it obligingly stepped aside so we could see that there were definitely two.
Interesting,
It's
it's calling.
screaming.
Yes, calling repeatedly, isn't it? I wonder if they are now hungry because the adults are provisioning all of those other young which have dispersed into the heather.
Are you going to guess when it'll go? Because I don't think they'll be there tomorrow. I think they will have gone.
What?
Branched off.
No, I think they're going to go and come back. Do you know what I'm saying? Sunday. They're still going to be there on Sunday.
Don't be ridiculous.
I think they will.
Utterly
I think they're going to
ridiculous.
hang out for another week. I would if I was them. Nice cosy patch in the moss. You know, someone bringing me some voles. Can't think of anything finer. Other than going to Northern Ireland to meet Yolo William. Now, last week we introduced you to the short-eared owl's nest that we'd found. It was the first time we've been able to show you these birds live on Springwatch. Absolutely beautiful. There were 6 youngsters in the nest, but they started to disperse, you know, pretty much straight away. So we kept an eye on them. Last night, there were only 2 left in the nest area, although they were scuttling out and back again. So here they were yesterday, coming back into that nest. The other 4 that we know are there have spread out into the heather. You know, it's a way of avoiding predators, so they're not all birds in one basket, as it were. Now, before it got dark last night, the largest chick was screaming a lot, was clearly very hungry. And the adults delivered, because they did bring in 2 voles, and then they brought a bird in, a pipit, which they'd captured at night. Thing is, it was only the large chick that was getting the food, ate the 2 voles, and then swallowed the pipit whole, all of those feathers. Love to see a bit of esophageal peristalsis taking place there. If you were watching last night, you'll know what I'm going on about, esophageal peristalsis. So, at this point, the smaller of the chicks has had no food. Adult went back out, did bring in 1 more vole during the course of the night. The smaller chick did what it could to try and dismember it, but frankly, it's just not up to the task. It's still a bit too small for that. And it wasn't long before the larger chick stole it, and then, using esophageal peristalsis, I so love that, it swallows the chick whole, leaving the younger chick having had no food all night. And I can't remember yesterday when we last saw it eating, but it wasn't in the evening, so it's gone a considerable time without food. Then it rained overnight. We had quite heavy stormy weather here this morning, and this is what we saw when we came in. The smaller chick was looking pretty sad, trying to nuzzle up and find some shelter with its larger sibling.
And you may remember yesterday when we showed you the 6 chicks, there's a big size discrepancy between that youngest one and the older one because they hatch at intervals, so the younger one might be more than a week younger than the oldest chick in that nest. And very often, if there's not enough prey to go round, then that younger one will perish, but that's usually when they're very little. Younger, the 6
was looking in the evening, so it's gone a considerable time without food. Then it rained overnight. We had quite heavy stormy weather here this morning, and this is what we saw when we came in. The smaller chick was looking pretty sad, trying to nuzzle up and find some shelter with its larger sibling.
And you may remember yesterday when we showed you the 6 chicks, there's a big size discrepancy between that youngest one and the older one because they hatch at intervals, so the younger one might be more than a week younger than the oldest chick in that nest. And very often, if there's not enough prey to go round, then that younger one will perish, but that's usually when they're very little. But it seemed that they were all being fed, and just yesterday I was saying that that one was doing really well. Well, I'm afraid in that nest things took a turn for the worse, and it really surprised us, and it is a little bit shocking. And as you can see, that little one became weak and defenceless, and the stronger sibling took complete advantage, started pecking at the younger one. It was still alive, and I'm really sorry to say, I know it's hard to watch, but it pecked it to death. And that was really surprising for us because, as Chris said, you know, they were fed 4 times. The little one could have taken some of that food. The bigger one took it all. There was plenty of prey around. They were branching out, so they were old enough to survive. We thought all of them were going to survive. But very sadly, as you can see, that younger one didn't. It died, and the older one made the most of it. I mean, it definitely got rid of its sibling. And, I mean, as I say, it was very, very hard to watch, wasn't it?
It was. I hate to be a charmless man, but we've got to bring some pragmatism to this. We have seen it before. We've seen it in barn owls. We've seen it in our kestrels, where a chick dies and either the adult feeds it to the chicks or they eat it themselves, as in this case. And from the adult, you know, the larger chick's point of view, it's got a decision to make here. If it waits for that chick to grow bigger, it's going to be harder to overcome. It's also got to decide whether it wants to eat it at all, because it's carrying 50% of its genes. So this is a strategy that's built into these birds, which is about guaranteeing the maximal survival of the chicks in the nest, and that little one was clearly just a bit too weak.
Do you know, I wonder, I've got a different theory, I've got a slightly different theory. I wonder whether it was just really weak and actually not very well, which is why it wasn't eating and it died. And then the older one just is an opportunistic feeder, saw something that was struggling, thought might as well make the most of it. And maybe that's the answer.
Very possibly the chance. Very
who
possibly
knows,
the
eh?
chance.
But very, very sad, and as I say, tough to watch.